Well, hello everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our webinar on how to navigate the admissions process of a top online MBA program. We have four schools in the house with great online MBA options for you and four representatives of those schools. We're going to tell you all about how the programs differ from each other, what the benefits of an online MBA might be over a full-time or conventional part-time program, what kind of concentrations these programs have, how they work, all the ins and outs that you need to know to make a really smart decision about where to go. So let me introduce all four of our guests from Baruch Zicklin, which is in New York, where I spent a couple of days recently. We have Allison Lund, the Director of Graduate Admissions. From the Jack Welch Management Institute, we have Carla Mueller, who's Director of Admissions. From Kennesaw State, we have Samira Luther, who's the Associate Director of the MBA programs. And from the University of San Francisco, where I left my heart, Frank Fletcher, Senior Director of MBA programs. Welcome all. So let's just sit back and say, okay, tell me a little bit about your institution before we actually get to the programming and all the detail about the curriculum and how it may differ from others. Um, let's start with you, Allison. Tell us about Baruch Zicklin. When I think of the school, here's what I think about. I think about social mobility. Um, as a first-gen college student who believes in the power of higher education, I put Zicklin way up there for people who want to climb the socioeconomic ladder. Am I right?
John, you're stealing my answers.
Oh boy.
I You stole the words right out of my mouth. But first, I wanted to thank you for having me here today. I'm really happy to be with my colleagues and talk a little bit more about Baruch and Zicklin. As Baruch and Zicklin is known for their social mobility and an engine of opportunity. We are continually ranked as the #1 public business school in New York State, a top public business school in the Northeast. And we have a very rich history. So the Zicklin School of Business and Baruch College has been delivering business education for over 100 years. We celebrated that anniversary in 2020, and we're located in the heart of Manhattan. So we have a wonderful reputation with employers. Our students get afforded a lot of opportunities for exposure and networking. And a fun fact that people don't know about us is that we happen to be the second largest business school in the United States. So that affords us a lot of opportunity, a lot of access, some of the great best faculty in their different functional and research areas. And, kind of drilling back to our namesake, Larry Zicklin, he basically set a foundation for Zicklin that good ethics is good business. And that's kind of been the cornerstone for our university. So along with, our social mobility, we really instill in our students that good ethics is essential to future business success.
And I should note that the size of the school is a function of its excellent undergraduate business program. Um, which it really is very well known for. Now, Jack Welch. Okay, so Carla, you should know I spent the last 2 days with Jack's widow, Susie,
How is she?
in New York. She's great. Stayed at her house. It was really wonderful. And for those of you who may not know, I worked with Jack very closely on essentially his memoir and biography, straight from the gut many years ago, and spent over 1,000 hours one-on-one with him. So, to me, Jack was the quintessential leader and entrepreneur, actually, because even though he was a professional manager, he was really much an entrepreneurial thinker. Now, Carla, your program and your school is all meant to be part of his legacy, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. When he created this program, he had this vision for this program about 15 years ago. We've been around for over 14 years. His vision was really to have an online MBA program so that really busy working professionals had a way to earn a top ranked, which he was hoping would be top ranked. We are now top ranked, MBA program that was designed to be very practical and immediately actionable. His vision was so that he handpicked all the faculty. They're all experts in the field that they teach. Our faculty are incredible, and I love that Poets and Quants actually ranks the faculty in addition to the program. And so proud to be our faculty's been on the top 4 list for the last 4 years. They're all experts in the field that they teach, and Jack's vision was to have an MBA program where the focus was on student success. And so all of the faculty are solely focused on the success of their students, both in the classroom and in their careers. They act as coaches and mentors. So that was Jack's vision. And here we are, 14 plus years later, we have over 4,800 graduates now from 82 countries around the world. We have a very diverse population. And again, the program is designed, the really unique thing about it is who you're learning from. So not only are our faculty are experts in the field, but the beauty of being an online program, Jack personally led this program up until the day he passed away. I used to report to him every night. He wanted to know who enrolled that day, who applied that day. But the beauty of the program is that we've been able to capture thousands of hours of video lectures from Jack himself and people like Warren Buffett and top CEOs, people that Jack raised up in his career, in addition to those top experts in their field faculty. So really the focus is on student success.
Yes. And very pragmatic education. Roll up your sleeves and get it done. That was Jack. Totally. Okay, and then from Kennesaw State, what's the lowdown on Kennesaw State?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me here. And I'm really excited to share more about KSU and our online MBA. So Kennesaw State University is an R2 institution located about 20 miles north of Atlanta. And we're the 3rd largest institution in the state of Georgia. So I highlight that specifically because we're a very young institution for being in the Southeast region. Our institution was founded in 1963. And in the last 2 decades, we've seen a lot of growth at the university. Similarly, Atlanta has also grown a lot in the last 20 years. So what you see is that as more industries and businesses and startups are moving to Atlanta and putting down those roots, KSU has really made sure to keep up with that growth and making sure that we're preparing our students not only to be workforce ready, but workforce leaders. Our students, a lot of them are first generation college students, or they're students who are financially independent. So along with being at school, they have other obligations. So what we really value is meeting our students where they are and providing a gold standard education while still allowing opportunities and community that support all the things happening outside of school. Our Coles College of Business is accredited by AACSB, which we all know is the gold standard for accrediting bodies.
Right.
And we continue to be part of the top 2% of all AACSB business schools. This year, we're number 1 in the state of Georgia for our online MBA program. And we're also ranked number 46 in the nation for our online MBA program. So I'm excited to share more about our program and what our students bring to the table.
Terrific. I can't wait to hear it all.
Yeah.
And my reference to the Tony Bennett tune in San Francisco was not an idle reference. I'd lived in the Bay Area for 11 years and visited the University of San Francisco on a number of occasions. And it is a magnificent town, a beautiful place to live and a beautiful place to study and a beautiful school. It really located right downtown. Frank, tell us about the University of San Francisco.
Well, John, thank you. Thanks for having us. And we do miss you here in the Bay Area. So please come back and visit. Yes, so the University of San Francisco, you talk about the town, you talk about San Francisco. We are actually the oldest university in the city, the first university in the city, should I say. We're celebrating our 100th year anniversary this year for the business school. However, the university dates back to the 1850s. Thank you. So in many ways, we grew up together. The city and the school grew up together, and we really have shaped the leadership of this great the Bay Area over those years. Our graduates hold leadership roles in many of the organizations that you're familiar with that really make this town innovative and exciting. And I think that that's one of the things that speaks about the difference about our school, because all of our schools are really defined by our location. Even though this is an online program, the conversations that we have to shape our program are with leaders in our backyard. We're having those conversations with our corporate partners, with our alumni, to make sure that our programs are relevant, are responsive to current and future needs, and certainly are seeing that reflected in our online program. While we are the second oldest school on this call, we're probably the youngest in terms of this space. We are very new to online education. It's because we took a very careful approach to it. We wanted to make sure that we were doing it right. We wanted to make sure that we understood where we could position ourselves in this market. And I think we've done a really unique and we positioned it really in a unique and exciting way. Recognizing, again, after having many conversations with our corporate partners, with our alumni, with our current students, and with what we understood to be the potential online population, how we can best deliver this experience to that group. So similar to my friends at these other institutes, we have an extraordinary faculty to deliver this. We really balance between our full-time research-based faculty and draw from talent within here in the Bay Area for adjunct faculty. And you're certainly going to experience that in the classroom. We want to make sure that even though you are online, your experience extends beyond the classroom. So a lot of what you're doing is applied learning. You're working with real data sets with real clients on real projects that have real consequence. You're signing NDAs on these projects, so these are not simulated projects, and you're going to have a number of them embedded throughout your program. And again, the reflection is going to be a reflection of this great city, these kinds of projects you're working on. So yeah, I'm excited to tell you more about the program, but John, thanks again for hosting us today. And
It's a pleasure. Frank, let's dive a little bit more. And now you mentioned the experiential work in the online program. What was the thinking behind how, in fact, the school shaped it?
So yeah, I mean, this is a hallmark of our program within our in-person program, right? So we wanted to make sure that when we were delivering an online experience, that the experiential difference was minimal between online and in person. We wanted to make sure that we were delivering the same kind of experience to our online students. And given that the hallmark of our in-person experience is this experiential learning, is applied learning, we wanted to make sure that's reflected in the online experience as well. So embedded in coursework is guaranteed in at least 3 courses in the online program, it could be more depending on what electives you're going to take. You are going to have client-facing projects that are going to be a big part of that course. I'll give you an example. One is our business modeling and design ideation course, which is a design thinking core course. The faculty member who runs that course, we have a number of faculty teach it, but the one who runs it really built that course around the idea of what goes on at IDEO in terms of design thinking advisory services. And we've been delivering that course for, I'd say, about 7 years now. And we have repeat clients who come back specifically to that course for the impact that our students are having on their organizations. So in answering your question, what is our idea behind this? We are responding to what I think has been the greatest criticism in my 25 years of graduates of MBA students, is that we graduate really bright people who understand the models, understand the theory, but when asked to apply it in an effective and impactful way, they oftentimes are a little deer in headlights. So we want to make sure that they are given the opportunity throughout the program to have that opportunity to apply these models, these concepts in fairly safe settings. Again, these projects have consequence. Our corporate partners are taking the student work and implementing it, but it is a safer space here, and so we're giving our students that opportunity, and it's created a real, for those students who are looking to transform their career or transition their careers while in an online program, having exposure to different industries is certainly incredibly valuable. Most of our part-time students are not going to, or online students are not going to engage in a formal internship, right? That's just not possible given that what they're managing. So this gives them exposure to different industries, gives them exposure to different organizations, and really gives them a chance to get a sense of what else is out there. So that's another benefit of these course embedded projects.
Right. Samira, give us your sense of how your program is different at Kennesaw State.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the major values of KSU is collaboration, and our online MBA is very reflective of that. So we call our online MBA the Web MBA, and we're actually part of a consortium of Georgia schools. So there are 7 universities who contribute to the Web MBA. So it's deans, faculty who come together, create this curriculum, and KSU proudly is the largest institution part of the consortium. So when our students join the program, they are in a lockstep program. It's a cohort model and it's asynchronous. As Frank kind of alluded to, it's not just about the academics that are happening, but it's about the people that you meet, the network that you build. And we were very strategic with how we're making sure that our online students are getting that networking piece. So when students are assigned to a cohort, they're also assigned to a team. There's a lot of back-end work that goes on, lots of assessments that happen, and we strategically place students on a diverse team of age, experience, industry, and then from there, they complete the program with that team through every single class. So you're not meeting for class, but every week you have a meeting with your team. You're spending time learning from each other, learning about these different industries, and completing all of your classes together. So really there's this huge opportunity not only to have that academic excellence that we bring to the table, but it's an opportunity to really expand your network, honing in with your team, but also getting the opportunity to connect with people from all 7 institutions in the state of Georgia.
Great. And Carla, tell us about the Jack Welch Online MBA.
Absolutely. Well, as we mentioned earlier, the whole program is designed for students to transform their lives, to move them ahead in their careers or get them to their career goals. So we meet the students wherever they're at, and it's designed to be very transformational. I talked before about our award-winning faculty and all the greats that students are learning from, but very similar, we have an incredible networking community. So we're always listening to the voice of the student. That's one of the things. And early on, our students said we want a networking community where we can meet students outside of the classroom. Our classes are small, about 20 students or so to every class. So, but we don't cohort the classes. So going through the 12 courses in the MBA, you're going to meet several hundred people as you go through. But one of the unique things about our program is we created this award-winning platform called My Connect. Kind of think of it as like a private LinkedIn. We have over 5,000 members now. That's where as soon as students are enrolled, they can join My Connect. They can start meeting we have 4,800 plus alumni now. At any given time, about 1,800 students in the program, and then our faculty. They can start meeting students. They can find students by where they're located or the industry and be matched up with mentors. We had 75 live virtual networking events alone last year, but then we also have in-person networking events. We have 150 hub cities around the world where students are actually getting together in person and meeting each other. But the beautiful thing about the networking is all there's job boards, and students looking for new opportunities are able to, find people in their industries and be matched up with mentors. So that's one of, is really about meeting the student where they're at, and helping them to get to their dreams. And sometimes those dreams change as they go along the way, as they're going through the classes. We have actually 5 different concentrations now. We have our original core Jack Welch MBA program. That's designed to get you be prepared to be in a C-suite role in any industry, in any vertical. That's our original MBA, our core MBA. We also have an MBA with a concentration in human resources, which is fantastic. It's SHRM aligned. We have an MBA with a concentration in healthcare for anybody in the healthcare industry or wanting to get into the healthcare industry. We have a fantastic concentration in operations management. And John, our newest concentration that we just introduced, and it's taking off like wildfire, is our concentration in AI leadership. So lots of options for students, to help figure out where they want to take their career.
Great. Allison, give us the lowdown on the Baruch Zicklin Online MBA.
Thanks, John. When hearing my colleagues talk about the MBA program, I think one thing that we focus on here, and like when I'm talking to prospective students, is that at the end of the day, you're getting an MBA degree, right? The format in which you're consuming the program is just the description of how it's delivered and helping students to assess what is going to be the right format for them. So when designing Baruch Zicklin Online MBA, we wanted to assure the same rigor as our other MBA programs. And so we have the same academic standards, the same curriculum, the same admissions requirements, that it is going to be the same most powerful degree as our evening MBA program or our executive MBA program. And you can guarantee the same success whatever modality you're consuming the program in. Specifically, and it's so interesting to hear about everyone's programs and that we're so unique, and it's so important for prospective students to really dive in to find out what online format is going to be best for you. For us at Zicklin, our format's delivered about 90% asynchronous, meaning you're completing the coursework at your own timeline and meeting certain deadlines. But we do have about a 10% synchronous component where on Wednesday evenings for about 75 minutes, students are meeting with their class for a live lecture with the professor. And I think, in an online format, community engagement is so important and critical for success. And so that synchronous component helps to provide that. While our program's not designed to be a cohort program, the way we design the program is to provide flexibility where it's like a step on, step off. If you need to take off, a certain session, it's easy to jump right back in. Students find that connection. They often refer to themselves as a cohort because that's the connection that they're feeling with their classmates. But the way our program is formatted, it's meant to be a step on, step off model in case, something in your life circumstances or you're having a busy professional season, and to make it as easy to step in and step out. We do have a dedicated academic advisor that supports people throughout the entire program. We know that our online students need that academic support access more so than even our traditional students because they're not here on campus and they're consuming the information in a different way. And so having different support resources for our online students and recognizing their needs is very important and something that we acknowledge and try to rise to the occasion here. In terms of our course delivery, it's delivered on 7-week sessions. So you can focus on one class at a time. It's very intensive. So all of our courses have been redesigned to be all delivered within a 7-week session as opposed to a 12 to 13-week session. So it is intense. And I think students can be a little surprised by that. And it takes some time to become comfortable with that. And then as far as our elective classes, we have a broad range of elective classes, which you will be able to pick and choose from in the online MBA. But you also have the option to choose classes from our general course offerings. And so even though with the online MBA, we do have people from across the country, we find that most of our online MBA students are within 20 miles of New York City. And so many of them want to consume most of the MBA program online, but like the option to maybe take a hybrid class or an in-person class once, twice, 3 times throughout their entire program. And so our program provides a lot of flexibility, a lot of opportunity, and we really try to engage them in the community. And then the final thing is the capstone of the program is a consulting project where you work with major companies such as JP Morgan, MasterCard, Colavita, the olive oil that you might have in your kitchen, and consult on a real world project and deliver that to the client. So real world applicability.
That's great. I have that olive oil in my kitchen.
It's a name brand.
Now, Allison, you brought up an interesting point, and I want to underline it for everyone. An online MBA program is not an online MBA program, and here's what I mean by that. Every school takes a somewhat different approach. You heard Allison describe the 90% of work that would be done on your own with your classmates and assignments, and then the 10% where you actually attend an internet live class. And those percentages vary from one program to another. So does whether or not a program requires or allows for, on a volunteer basis, in-residence sessions or immersions. And the great benefit overall of an online degree, of course, is flexibility. You can do it while you're working. You can apply what you learn in the classroom to your work immediately. The cost is much less because you don't have to give up your job and lose your paycheck. And generally, online programs tend to be priced less than in-person programs. There are usually multiple start dates, so you don't have to wait for the entire calendar to evolve so that you start your program in the fall. And you're going to be able to still make very good connections with your classmates and faculty. So, Allison, I want to role play with you. I'm a candidate and I'm uncertain about whether or not I should go to a full-time MBA program and quit my job or go and enroll in Baruch Zicklin's online MBA program. Help me decide. What should I be thinking about? What are the factors and questions I should be asking myself to make the right decision?
Sure, that's something that we do quite
I'm
often. I'm sure
sure.
everyone else here talks about it. And I think it's a matter of, a person's goals, right? The full-time MBA, for example, is a very set destination. Everything is very defined. Things happen at a certain cadence. And so when I'm engaging somebody in conversation about, well, what are your career goals? What are you looking to do? What amount of risk are you willing to take on? Not everybody is in a position to take 2 years off of work and, take that risk of trying to make a huge career transition. So when I'm in conversation and talking about these different program options, it's important to assess those different factors of like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make a big career move in terms of function, industry, location? Or do you like where you currently work and you're looking to move up or just move into a different company, but within the same industry? And when I'm advising students, the full-time MBA, it's a machine. It has, you have your first year, your summer internship. Hopefully that leads to a job offer. And students in that program get to spend a lot of time outside the classroom, engaging in case competitions, clubs and activities, networking. So the time that they would normally be spending at work, they're spending on building that network and finding different opportunities. Whereas with the online MBA, you can change careers. You can move up in your industry. I think if you're a career changer, you might have to be a little bit more strategic, right? You're balancing a full-time workload, you're balancing classes, fitting in time to meet with your career advisor. And so the runway to make that big career transition might be a little bit longer. You might have to be a little bit more patient because you're balancing so many different things outside the classroom. But if you're comfortable with, your current salary, your current workload at work, you feel like you have the opportunity to take on a little bit more with, an online MBA, and have a little bit more of a runway to make that transition and to do all those extracurriculars that hopefully lead to a job opportunity, then the online MBA could be a good fit. Whereas if you are, let's say, really eager to transition sooner, I would say a full-time MBA might be a better fit because, again, that system is already in place, but it is a bigger risk because you don't have that same income while you're in the program.
Very true. Very true. And online MBA programs tend to draw more experienced people, akin to an executive MBA program than the 20-something crowd that goes to many of the full-time MBA programs. Carla, how long does it take to get the degree from the Jack Welch Management Institute? What's the shortest time and the longest time? And what kind of flexibility do
I
you
love
give
that
students?
question. So, John, absolutely. So the program is designed to get through in as little as 18 months. That's taking 2 classes every quarter. So you're done in a year and a half, 6 quarters back to back. Our quarters run 10 weeks in length with about 2 to 3 weeks of break in between. So a year and a half is the quickest. And a few people, very few, have actually gotten through it a little bit quicker. You have to petition the dean if you want to take more than 2 classes per quarter. So some students have gotten, but it's designed to get through in as little as 18 months. If you just take 1 class per quarter, it's going to take you 3 years to get through the program. But again, we have that flexibility. The students pace the program as they go. They don't have to commit right off the bat. I'm going to be done in 18 months, or I'm going to be done in 2 years or 3 years. They get to pace it as they go. So that our students also have their own dedicated Jada, my academic advisor. That's one advisor that's with them through their whole journey. That advisor will stay with them and help them pace the program. But we do have students that have to sit out a couple quarters to get through the program, because of work demands and that type of thing.
Sure.
And in fact, we have a beautiful. So we're headquartered here in Washington, D.C. We have a gorgeous graduation ceremony every fall. At our last graduation ceremony, John, I had a gentleman come up to me that I enrolled myself 9 years ago. It took him 9 years to get through the program. He was an Australian ship captain. So because of his crazy work schedule, he had to sit out quite a few years. So, you know, some students can take, you know, the Department of Education rule is you have 10 years from the time you start a program to complete it. So, but the 9 year mark is the longest one I've seen. Our average graduate has taken about 2 to 2.5 years to get through the program.
Right. And Carla, do you agree with Allison that while a pivot, meaning a career switch, is possible with an online MBA, it requires a little more work?
I do, but I see it happen all the time. Particularly
Yeah.
students get into the program, they start networking, they find that, you know, maybe they take a marketing class and they're passionate about marketing, or they take an operations management class and they find that really lights them up. So a lot of times as they're going through the courses, they're finding the kind of concentration that they maybe want to gravitate towards. And that's where the networking comes into great help, because they can, you know, find other students in the program that are maybe operations managers, or they're in the HR field or what have you. And then they can be matched up with mentors. And then our faculty actually act as mentors and coaches outside the classroom as well, not just coaching on, you know, the academics of the course, but they act as career coaches and guides. So I see it happening all the time. In fact, John, on our website, jadamai.com, there's a little place where it's called Winning Voices. You can click on that and see all of the success stories, all the people that have changed careers. What we see often happen with our graduates, particularly after they go through the core MBA, they take the entrepreneurship class. And a lot of our students say, hey, you know what? I really want to start my own entrepreneurship, you know, my own business that I've been dreaming of. So we see a lot of our students go on to be entrepreneurs.
That's really true. And the other thing I find is, and I've heard this story from many online MBA students over the years, you know, there are a lot of jobs that are available that are hidden from public view. And you sit in a class, even a virtual class, and you express to your classmates, you know, your eagerness to try something new, and suddenly they tell you about job opportunities that you otherwise would never have known about. And that's the power of the alumni network. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Samira, tell me the shortest and the longest time that one could avail themselves of the online MBA at Kennesaw State.
Yeah, absolutely. So our program is lockstep. So when students commit to the program, it's 5 consecutive semesters or 20 months. Now, one of the things that we really value in our program is holistic wellness and in collaboration. So we have 2 dedicated staff members in our office for academic advising. So when we think about academic advising, we're not just looking at grades, but we're really approaching it from that sense of wellness. So if I do see students who are not doing as well as some of their cohort members, or as we're checking in with students every semester, if they're kind of expressing a little bit of hesitation, we do have conversations with them and we do discuss options of what does it mean to step out. Obviously, we're not going to encourage people to step out, but in situations where we have those one-on-one dialogues and kind of evaluate what's going on, we do have an option to step out of the program as needed. And then if you need to return to the program, we will work with you to make sure that you're set up for success, assign you to a new cohort, and make sure we're creating a path to graduation. So while most of our students do graduate in that 5 semesters or 20 months, I have had students who've had to step away for a year and they come back and they get plugged right back in and they finish. So our program requires that you graduate within 6 years. So if there is that need to step away and really focus on that wellness, or you have a really big life transition, our office is really dedicated to make sure that we work with you to make sure you're accomplishing your goals.
Now, do you have concentrations in the program?
Yeah, so our Web MBA does not have concentrations. We're 30 credit hours, and we're really focused on making sure that students are able to reach their career goals. Most of our students are working professionals looking to make either a pivot in their career, or they're looking to get into a management position. So they're looking for a program that's going to give them that foot in the door. Actually, funny enough, I had about 10% of my last class tell me that just by getting admitted into the program and finishing their first semester, they got promoted immediately. So our Web MBA is really giving people that mobility within their workforces. And we're also seeing a lot of people able to switch industries as well. I believe in my last cohort, I had 10 people who switched industries completely, a lot of it doing with that network and the people that they're working with on their teams, and those doors that open that way. So there's just a lot of really great opportunity there.
Yeah, exactly. And let's face it, I mean, I think the people who uh, go back to graduate school, particularly for a degree in business, are people who are smart and ambitious.
Yeah,
They want to move ahead. So, you're part of a core of people who are like-minded in terms that, they're really looking for a lot of professional fulfillment. They're not looking just for a paycheck or a job. They're looking for a real career. And
absolutely. And
being with those people is really beneficial.
absolutely. And the one other thing I do want to highlight is we don't have concentrations within our web MBA program. Our evening MBA program does have concentrations, but we do have the opportunity for students to earn certificates. So we have a fintech certificate as well as an information systems certificate. So our web MBA students are able to add that certificate through KSU. Those classes are also fully online. So they're able to take those classes while taking their courses with the web MBA. With that certificate add-on, students are also able to complete their web MBA program. And if they want to take maybe a couple classes here and there for the certificate, they can completely graduate and then continue on with the certificate at their own pace.
Yeah, that's great because that's something you can put on your LinkedIn profile and your
Yeah,
CV
yeah,
to help
absolutely.
stand out. Now, Frank, what's the shortest and longest time a student can complete the online MBA program at the University of San Francisco?
Yeah, John, thank you. So similar to Jack Welch, we do believe that students should, given the challenging careers that they're managing, their social lives, their personal lives, uh, they need flexibility. And so comparably, most of our students are doing it between 2 and 2.5 years. It's going to take them minimally 2 years. The longest I've seen anybody in the 10 years I've been at University of San Francisco has been 5 years to complete the program. And that's a very rare occasion. And it comes similar to what Kennesaw State was saying, is because we do take good care of our students, not just making sure they're on track to complete the program, but understanding the friction points they have through the program and helping them through those friction points. So they get a lot of advisement. They have academic advisor, they have career coaches, career advisors. So they're getting a lot of support through the program. And we also find that because similar to what we're hearing from other schools, most of what you're doing in this program is team-based. You're getting a lot of peer support as well. You're getting support from your classmates. There's always going to be a moment where you're not going to be able to contribute 100% to this program.
Right.
You can have people there to help you through, your classmates helping you through that process. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the MBA experience as a whole. It is incredibly collaborative. We're here to champion each other. We're here to champion each other's success and make sure everyone rises. So, it's funny. One of the things I like to say about the University of San Francisco and the culture here is that our students are successful, right? Our students are achieving the goals they're setting for themselves. But they're humble as well. Oftentimes, I hear of their success not from them. I hear from their classmates because they're championing each other. They're saying, "Did you hear what John? The great job that John got." And I think I've experienced that at all the MBA programs I've worked at. And I think it's a beautiful thing about this experience is that it is a very collaborative, collegial environment.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, people really support each other. They encourage each other. And it's kind of like reinforcing to be in a group with people like that, because oftentimes, let's face it, at work, oftentimes you don't see that. You don't get the benefit of it, and it really matters. Now, Frank, one of the questions that I like the most, frankly, is, when I go to a campus, I'll try to go and have a drink with MBA students. And I'll ask them, what are the three things about the program now that you're at the end and you're about to graduate that will resonate with you for a long time, if not for your entire life? The three things. What are the three things at the University of San Francisco's online MBA program? Certainly, one is going to be experiential learning because you already telegraphed that. And you mentioned IDEO, which is incidentally their corporate headquarters is within walking distance of your school, and it is the premier design strategy firm in the world. But what are the three? I don't want to step on you here. So you name the three things that matter the most to the online MBA students at your school.
Well, I think we've all telegraphed this. It always starts with the people. It starts with the
Yeah.
people you share the experience with. And similar to my colleagues, we're always making sure that the people that we bring into our program, into our community, there's an understanding of what their ambition, what their goals, and why this is the right time for them to pursue this kind of degree, to make sure that we're the right fit for that. We are creating a relationship, a long-term relationship. So the people that we bring in are coming here for the right reason, and are willing to contribute, are ready to contribute, and have something to contribute. We're bringing in not only great students but great teachers, and so I think it's the people is always the first part of it. My favorite day is always graduation day, to see these people walking through campus together, people who didn't know each other 2 years ago, who are now best of friends, connecting with each other's family members. It's such a wonderful experience. Number two, I think it's certainly the care that the faculty bring to the classroom. Similar to some of my colleagues here, we have very small classrooms. You'll never be in an online class with more than 25 students, and that's really intentional, because we want to make sure that our faculty are very much a part of this experience with our students. Our faculty are not sages on the stage. They're leading conversations, but they're not the sole participants. They're drawing context from students, and I think our students really appreciate that. They want to talk. They want to be in the classroom. They want to contribute, and our faculty recognize that, and they love the connection they make with the faculty. So I'm always hearing about that relationship that they're able to build with the faculty. And third, I think it's the way that we connect to the city. I talked about experiential learning. Yes, this is an online program, and similar to what I was hearing from Zicklin, we're seeing the same, that most of our students reside within a reasonable commuting distance to our campus. Similar to Zicklin, we offer these students the opportunity to do in-person learning. The way that we shape it is that we deliver our electives. We've broken down our silos so that our full-time executive and online students, should they wish to do it, take electives together. And it's been really transformative for us, because our executive students love working with young talent. Our young talent love working with executive students. Our online students love that opportunity to engage in person if they have that opportunity. It's not required, but that's certainly something that they're participating in. But they love being a part of the city. So if they're in the Sacramento Valley, they come in for a weekend and just get a feel for the city. We bring them to conferences. We take them out. We have access to Dreamforce, which, as you know, John, is not an inexpensive ticket. The fact that our students are able to be able to go to those kinds of events is transformative for them. So I think it's the people, the classmates, certainly the faculty engagement, and the way that we really make the city a huge part of their experience. It is very much an extension of the campus. I think are the three most important factors.
Love it. Samira, the three things about Kennesaw State.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think similarly to Frank, the first thing is people and the power of your network. Through our program and the way that we work with our teams and interact with our cohorts and institutions, one of the biggest takeaways is how do you continue to build that network and plug in wherever you can. The second is going to be continuous learning. We know that the MBA has some classic academic appeal, but MBAs are also part of many, many industries and industries that are growing and industries that haven't even evolved yet. So how are you setting yourself up for success to make sure that after you get your MBA, you're continuing to engage in learning, so that way you're staying up to date with all the workforce. Our program is $25,000 for the entire program. So part of that budget-friendly ROI appeal of our program is that students are not leaving with a lot of debt, and there is a lot of interest to continuing education, whether it's getting your own certificate through KSU, or just making sure that you're creating other opportunities for professional development for yourself. And that's really built into the culture of our program. And then lastly, I would say collaboration. A little bit different than networking, but again, we want our students do end up being leaders at the company, in their companies in the Southeast region. So how are you bringing that same collaboration that you did within our program to the workforce? So that way we're creating cultures where cultures of workforce where people want to be, and we're creating kind of that loop for people to see that appeal for MBAs.
Terrific. Carla, the three things about the Jack Welch Online MBA.
Wow, it's so hard to narrow it down to just three. We had our spring quarter started this week, so we had our virtual kickoff call last week. We had two of them, and we had our assistant dean on there, and the first thing he said was, "Welcome to the Jade and my family," and that's again along the same lines as my colleagues on the call. The students are so surprised that when they get into an online MBA program, they don't expect the level of support, camaraderie, engagement that they're going to get not only from their faculty and their classmates inside the classroom, outside the classroom. They're so surprised at that tremendous support network that they get that carries on after they graduate. They have formed the greatest friendships of their lives. They have all these professors who continue to be mentors for them even past their career. So the people, again, like everybody else said, the networking, like I said, we say welcome to the family because it really has that feel. The second thing I think is the confidence that students come out, not even after they graduate, even going through that first class. More than 2 out of 3 of our students, John, are getting at least one promotion or raise while they're going through the program. And it's because, and I say this all the time, I go, this MBA program not only changes the way you look at the world, but it changes the way the world looks at you. And then particularly in our program, they get such a global perspective with students and classmates from 82 countries around the world. Our student profile ranges from 22 years old to 75 years old. So we have students, but really the diversity that they are going to experience really expands the way they think, really expands their global perspective on things. And then what we're hearing consistently from our graduates is their confidence as a leader and as a professional is just soared having gone through the program. And then, the third thing I think I would have to say is just really the transformative effect that it has on their careers, tying into what the point number 2, but it really has and that was Jack's mission for the program, to transform the lives of our students. And that's what it really does. And so I think that's the big takeaway for the students is how going through this MBA program has transformed their careers, has transformed the way they think, has expanded their network.
And your mention of self-confidence registers with me because that's one of Jack's key leadership skills. I mean, if you don't have self-confidence, and I'm not talking about cockiness, but self-confidence to know that you need to make decisions and you need to make them fast and smartly is crucial to your success in any leadership role. Allison, the 3 things that Baruch Zicklin Online MBA graduates say, boy, I'll remember this forever.
Thank you. A lot of what my colleagues are saying here resonates with me and Baruch and Zicklin in our online MBA program. I think, when I think about Baruch and I think about Zicklin, I think global. We're in one of the most biggest business city in the world. And so the students that we attract are a reflection of the demographic of New York City. So we have representation from students from so many industries, so many cultures. And so it's a microcosm in the classroom, and people are bringing their experience and their knowledge and to that classroom conversation. And so you're having that reciprocal learning where, the faculty obviously are teaching the students and they're absorbing information, but learning's happening from student to student and even from student to professor. I've had a CFO that was a student and then a CFO that was a professor. And so it's amazing to see that kind of dynamic play out in the classroom. And, our faculty, I think, are always preparing our students for tomorrow's business worlds. We have a workforce dedicated on campus to making sure our curriculum is responsive to AI. Our faculty, obviously, are teaching here at the Zicklin School of Business, but they're also teaching at NYU and Columbia, and they're also in major, positions in major firms across New York City. So they're bringing that practical experience to the classroom. And ultimately, I think the return on investment, like everybody else said here, from the moment you start an MBA program, it's transformative. You get to apply what you're learning in the classroom to what you're doing at work. And I think that's the best way to learn and to reinforce the education that you're receiving in the classroom by applying it to your work. U.S. News and World Report ranked us as the top return on investment in the country. And our students have access to career services beyond graduation. So it is unlimited career services after you graduate. You're a part of our community forever. And I think that's something that makes us really unique.
So let's tell everyone how they can get more information. Now, each of the schools has great websites. They're highly detailed on the programs that they're offering. But Allison, if someone wanted to reach out to you or a member of your team, what should they do?
So they can send me an email to my personal email address. I'm happy to connect with any prospective students. We also have other MBA directors, admission directors in the office that are dedicated to our online MBA program. And so that's an excellent person to connect with as well. We host one-on-one sessions every single day. So that makes it really easy for people to schedule and make time with us. And we're always offering webinars. And we have our open house tonight. So if anybody's in the area, feel free to
There
stop
you
by.
go.
We're at 25th and Lexington.
And now, Allison, what's your email address?
It's out. So my name, allison.lund@baruch.cuny.edu.
Great. And that's Lund.
Mhm.
Carla, how can people reach out to you or members of your team to find out more?
Absolutely. Of course, they can go to our website, jdmi.com. They can fill out a request for information sheet, but definitely I welcome everybody to, send me an email, carla.mueller@jwmi.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Carla Bates Mueller on LinkedIn, so you can connect with me there and we can start a conversation there. And I'm happy to get you connected with one of my really talented admissions officers who can help you, figure out how to make this dream a reality and figure out which concentration's best.
Terrific. Samira, how do we reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my email is sluthur@kennesaw.edu. So anyone is welcome to send me an email, and we set up one-on-one appointments with anyone who's interested in our program so we can talk through your personal journey. How does our Web MBA fit into your goals, and make sure that we're setting you up for success. Along with those one-on-ones, we also have webinars where we go through a lot of the information more in detail. And we also have the rest of our team who can also connect with you one-on-one as well. We also invite people to follow us on LinkedIn and message any of us there. We're very, very active on social media, and we're happy to connect on any of our platforms.
Yeah, that's a good way to definitely follow the social media platforms of the schools for the latest news and for their deadlines and their other webinars and things like that. Now, Frank, how can people reach you or a member of your team?
Sure. So my email, my first initial F, last name Fletcher, Fletcher, at USFCA, California, usfca.edu. Also, that's our website, usfca.edu, where you can find our upcoming events. We have application tips and tricks. We have information sessions for our online MBA program coming up. And also feel free to come and visit us if you find yourself in the Bay Area. Come visit us at campus, 101 Howard Street on the corner of Howard and Spear in beautiful downtown San Francisco. Love to show you around the facilities.
Indeed. Well, Allison, Carla, Samira, and Frank, thank you so much for participating. I think we got a lot of information out there, and there's so much more that you can learn by visiting the websites and contacting these folks, and even talking to a current student or alum who's been through the program, so you get a real frontline view of it. So thank you. So Allison from Baruch Zicklin, Carla Mueller from Jack Welch, Samira from Kennesaw State, and of course, Frank from the University of San Francisco. Thank you very much. And for all of you, thanks for watching. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants.